It's a Are we all sorted? I'll just ask politely that we put your phone on silent to vibrate. We don't want your phone going off in the middle of minister's address or anyone's address. All right, once again, good afternoon, and we now call this session to order. Will you all stand for the national pledge? At the count of three. 1, 2, 3. I pledge myself to honor always the flag of Guyana and to be loyal to my country, to be obedient to the laws of Guyana, to love my fellow citizens, and to dedicate my energies towards the happiness and prosperity of Guyana. Thank you. You may be seated. Honorable Dr. Ashni Singh, Senior Minister in the Office of the President with responsibility for finance. Our Regional Chairman, Region 6, Mr. David Armagon. President of the Central Corentyne Chamber of Commerce, Mr. Punai Bigru. Also seated at the head table there is our Vice President, Ms. Sati Cox. We have here in audience our esteemed Commander of Region 6, Mr. Shipasad Bacchus. I see His Worship, the Mayor, Mr. Dave Budu. Special invitees, exhibitors, sponsors, ladies and gentlemen, members of the media. A special welcome to the official launch of BERBICE Expo and Trade Fair 2025. This year marks the 20th anniversary of BERBICE Expo. For those who recall, we started way back in 2005, and therefore it is our 20th anniversary. The Chamber also was formed in 2004. So that will tell you that mere months after the formation of the Central Corentyne Chamber, we got into BERBICE Expo. This event has always been held in collaboration with the government of Guyana, and we've always had this support, along to the Ministry of Tourism, Industry and Commerce, and by extension, Region number 6. The chairman and support staff of the region has always been very helpful and supportive. I remember some time back, in the early days of the Expo, when a mini disaster struck, we called on the region and they delivered. There have always been a phone call away from help and assistance when needed. And this afternoon, it is my pleasure to invite to the podium the Chairman of Region 6, Mr. David Armagon, to give some remarks. Mr. Armagon.
Thank you very much, Mr. Tejpal. Honorable Dr. Ashni Kumar Singh, Senior Minister responsible for Finance in the Office of the President, President of the Central Corentyne Chamber of Commerce, Mr. Bigru Punai, Mrs. Sati Cox, Vice President of the Central Corentyne Chamber, Ms. Commander of B Division and other officers of the police force, journalists, Mr. Bhopal Jagru, former Vice Chairman of the region, members of the press, His Worship the Mayor of Rosal, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I am particularly happy and delighted to once again be associated with the launching of the BERBICE Expo and Trade Fair. This is definitely one of the single largest events in our country and in this region, and is one that has attracted thousands of persons over the few days in which it's being held. And this year, I figure it's not going to be any different, because this year there's a lot more excitement in terms of what is happening in the region, and so many other persons, businesses, manufacturers, agricultural persons, and persons in different fields will come to be part of the exposition this year. No doubt, this is not an easy task, and to be able to withstand and sustain it for 20 years is a remarkable achievement, and the Central Quarantine Chamber needs to be congratulated for their sustainability. Many other organizations, after a few years, might have faltered, but this is a resilient organization, the Central Quarantine Chamber. They've always been engaged in activities not only for the country's development and for the region's development, but also for the individual members' development, and which is a good thing for the chamber here in the region. If you look around Berbice today and in this region, you will see that there are many opportunities for growth and development of the business sector. And so we expect that this year we'll be able to showcase a number of new businesses which have been set up within the region and outside of the region. And therefore those businesses would be interested in showcasing their products. This is not only an opportune time for businesses to showcase their products, it's also an opportune time for the people of this region to be able to see what is available and to be able to make important choices. It is a time when people bring out their family and have a good time at the expo. So it's a family gathering, it's a business gathering, and it's a gathering that speaks well for the region. In our region, there are many things happening. And today, we have seen exponential growth in many sectors. Not only in the infrastructure, but also in housing, in education, in local government, and in the sectors of agriculture, aquaculture, agriculture, and all the other areas. Quite recently, His Excellency the President had a meeting with farmers in the quarantine area, in which he was able to identify 35,000 acres of new land that will be under cultivation for cane, for citrus, and for coconuts. And when that project gets on stream, it will be another very important development for Berbice. So you also know the Palmares Stadium is near to completion. It's going to be completed sometime next year. And so when that is completed too, that is going to be a very busy thoroughfare. The 4-lane highway is proceeding. The Chinese have already started, and the Indians are likely to start very shortly. And so when that is completed too, that will be a major development for us in this region. The bridge connecting Guyana to Suriname is also likely to start as soon as the finances are available and the negotiations are completed. So we are in for a very exciting time in this region, and it's a good time for businesses. In fact, many persons from the diaspora, many of our Guyanese brothers and sisters are coming back to Guyana to look for opportunities to invest their money. And so once all these people begin to bring their money to this country, you will find that the cash flow will begin to increase, businesses will do better, not only businesses, but the entire economy will do better, and Berbice will flourish. There was a time in this region when things were very depressed, but today we are seeing things beginning to progress rapidly. Guyana is the fastest growing economy in the world, and perhaps the richest per capita in terms of GDP. And so we have a long way to go in this region. His Excellency the President has indicated in no uncertain manner that Berbice is going to grow and develop, and therefore we must take advantage of the opportunities that are available. So I want to congratulate once again the Central Quarantine for this great initiative of holding the Berbice Expo and Trade Fair once again, and we all look forward for a few days of excitement and fun. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Armagon. At this point, I'd like to recognize the presence of the President of the Berbice Chamber of Commerce, who just walked in, Mr. Samantha Reed. Welcome. I also notice one of our exhibitors who's coming as a major sponsor this year, Mr. Frank Sanicharo from Suri Trading, just walked in, so warm welcome as well. This year, like last year, we are going to have about 180 booths available at the expo. Approximately 75 in the main pavilion, that's the big tent we normally set up, and the remainder on the perimeter of the ground. I want to say at this time, although we haven't launched the expos yet, about 1/3 of those booths have already been sold. So if you're thinking about coming as an exhibitor, now is the time to register. We have a major constraint in hosting the event at Kanchi Ground. We cannot accommodate everyone who wants to participate. I can say with surety now that the food franchise have been totally sold. As a matter of fact, the number of requests that we have for food, in excess of 20 odd, we cannot accommodate all of them. The beverage franchise is also gone. This year, in keeping with the development trajectory of the country, we've noticed a number of companies who are involved in the construction business will be there at the expo this year. They've already booked and they've signaled intention to be there. So we'll be having these big heavy-duty trucks, excavators, where we advise them that, you can't bring the very big excavator. We can't really have that to the ground. There's no space for that. Agricultural machineries, there are going to be tractors and so there. So if you're in the construction business and you look for deals, then you want to come down to a Berbice Expo, talk to some of these exhibitors and work out your deals there. I did mention that the chamber was formed in 2004. And one of the charter members is now the current president. He has been president for the 5th time now. So we're in 3 separate sessions. Of course, you cannot serve as president for more than 2 terms consecutively. So this is the 3rd term as president. I must also add that himself and Mr. Anamaya, who I don't see here as yet, were part of the group who sort of being the brainchild for Berbice Expo and Trade Fair way back in 2005. So it's now my privilege to invite the president, who's also a very prominent businessman in Rosal Town, no other than Mr. Punai Bigru, to deliver his remarks. Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Tejpal, and pleasant good afternoon, everyone. Honorable Minister Dr. Ashni Singh, our own Mr. David Armagon, and I think since his tenure as the regional chairman, probably he has been engaged or involved in every single expo that we had to give his remarks at the launching, and if not at our opening ceremony. So thank you, special thanks to you, Mr. David. Commander, Region Number 6, Mr. Bacchus and his high-level team, and I must say that I'm happy to see you with your team, which is an indication that we are going to be having a good police presence and an incident-free Berbice Expo as all the previous years. So thank you, Commander. We have to acknowledge the presence of the Mayor of Rosalton, my good friend and my brother, Mr. Alex Foster, representing the NGO, headmistresses. I see, Mr. Noten, anybody here? Fellow chamber members, and sister members from our sister chambers, reporters, journalists. It is with great pride and appreciation that I, on behalf of the Central Quarantine Chamber of Commerce, welcome you to the official launch of BERBICE Expo and Trade Fair 2025. This exposition had long stood as the premier business event of our region, a stage where tradition meets innovation, and where our entrepreneurs, manufacturers, and service providers are given the opportunity to showcase the best of BERBICE and Guyana. This year's theme, Harnessing New Wealth, Modernizing Traditional Sectors for Sustainable Development, speaks directly to the journey where we are on as a nation. Guyana is at a historic movement in its development with the emergence of new industries and opportunities right here in BERBICE, particularly in oil and gas, energy, and technology. At the same time, our traditional pillars, agriculture, fishery, forestry, rice, sugar, and tourism, remain central to our economy and our people's livelihood. The challenge before us, and indeed the opportunity, is to bridge these two realities. We must embrace the wealth and innovation of new sectors while ensuring that our traditional industries are modernized through technology, training, and investment. And on this little note, I guess most of us who are here, at least from BERBICE or around this area, if we go at the back of where Port Morant Hospital is, I happen to pass there very often, you need to go there and look at the transformation of what's happening right in our own backyard. In another year or year and a half time, the ExxonMobil school will be finished, the hospitality center will be finished, and then if you're coming from New Amsterdam, we can look and see what's going to happen at Palmyra. It has started already, and we can look, and then BERBICE will be transformed with the new highway. So there's a lot of things happening in BERBICE, and we as BERBICians, we have to position ourselves, and we have to have this vision in our head to understand and to picture what's going to happen in the near future. So when things start happening and we don't place ourselves at the right position, we wouldn't say that if only maybe no. You know, that's a normal thing. So I want to make sure that our entrepreneurs, our friends, business person understand and try to be up to date of what's happening so we can be part of this. Only then can we secure sustainable development that benefits every citizen, every community, and every generation to come. The BERBICE Expo provides the perfect platform to demonstrate how this can be done. Here, business will not only display products and services, but also share knowledge, build partnership, and expose new markets. It's where small entrepreneurs can stand alongside major companies and feel proud of their achievement and what they have done. I wish to extend deep gratitude and heartfelt thanks to our sponsors and partners, to the Honorable Minister, Dr. Ashni Singh, and by extension, the Government of Guyana, to be partnering with us for the past 20th year of BERBICE Expo, for believing in the vision of the Chamber, and your continued support we are looking forward for in the future and years to come. To our exhibitors, your courage and creativity that you have displayed over the years, I also commend that, and I've known that some of our exhibitors had started from very small when we had started BERBICE Expo, and today they have outgrown, they have become major businesses in Guyana and just not BERBICE alone. I also commend the hardworking team of the Central Quarantine Chamber of Commerce for their tireless effort in making this event possible year after year. Remember, Berbice Expo is the largest event in Berbice, where over 30,000 persons passing through over the 4 days event. This year, we expect nothing less. I would like to mention that proceeds from Berbice Expo is used to do community projects. Too many to mention every one of them, so I'll just give a couple quick ones that we did recently from last Expo to present. We have spent approximately $850,000 on the old folks' home, that's the Dharamshala under the bridge, where myself and Mr. Tej and a few members, we went there and we looked at the needs of the home, and there were quite a few needs. So the chamber, we pledge our support, and we in terms of supply, mattresses, beds, toiletries, and food supplies, we expense over $850,000 on that project. And also, at a recent meeting, the chamber has made further commitment, because that's something that we see as a real need. We made further commitment that after this year, maybe years to come, it's something that we are going to be doing on a more regular basis. Also, every time that we use one of the welfare ground, I mean, we have been using Albion, from there we gone to Kanji, and we always do a project. For this year, we are going to be building a shed at Kanji ground. The cost of about $750,000. That project is going to be fully sponsored by the chamber. And just as you drive and come in the same street here, like 2 lots away, Mr. Rafiq is filling up a land that has been MOU that the town council has mandated or given over to the chamber. So we're collaborating with the Rosal Nursery School to set up a kiddies play park there, because it's much needed. And that project is going to be a joint project at an estimated cost of about $5 million. So the chamber is very much active in that project also. To our patrons, I encourage you to explore the booths, support our local businesses, and take pride in the innovation and resilience of our people. Your presence ensures that this exposition continues to thrive. Ladies and gentlemen, the Berbice Expo is not just an event, it's a living demonstration of Guyana's entrepreneurial spirit, resilience, and vision for the future. By harnessing our new wealth and modernization, our traditional sectors, we can create not just for Region 6, but all of Guyana, where progress is not fleeting, but sustainable and inclusive. Together, government, private sector, and community, we can ensure the commitment of today to build prosperity of tomorrow. Thank you, and may this year's exposition be our most successful yet. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. You wonder sometime that, after 20 years of doing Berbice Expo, our president still have the energy and the passion and the drive to lead a team of committed chamber members in delivering, the single largest event in Berbice. All right, so I know the president did touch a bit on security, but once again this year we have in the Guyana Police Force and their numbers. I want to let you know that we already engaged Commander and his team in a high-level meeting. So he's working out strategies. I know last year we took the ball up to a different level. We took the game to a different level. Police presence, there was a large presence in the ground itself. So looking from any direction, you could have seen the outposts. And therefore, policing by presence made a lot of difference. We've also have a drone, which will be flying overhead. So you'll be seeing a drone flying overhead. No one is spying on you. It's all for security purposes. There will be a big screen on the ground, and so we'll be able to monitor what's happening in some of the corners, that you don't have access to. We also have the services of Queensway Security this year. And for those who remember last year, they were very helpful in arranging the parking and overlooking security of vehicles. This year we are hopeful that we will get the parking lot again to assist with the parking. We're very hopeful that we'll get that. What I know with development and what's happening from Expo 2024 to Expo 2025, we would have registered in excess of 100,000 more vehicles. Now, driving from where I live in Reliance to New Amsterdam sometimes takes 20 to 30 minutes, depending on the timing that you drive. And therefore, I'm asking patrons, exhibitors, those who can carpool, please carpool. We haven't expanded the facilities to accommodate that level of parking. Nowhere. Even the roads cannot take off the amount of vehicles. I remember 2 years ago, there was a buildup of traffic all the way from Palmyra leading to the Welfare Center ground. But we are fortunate to have the good team of Commander Bacchus here. Very next day, systems were put in place, and they diverted traffic in different routes, and we were able to have a smooth flow. But with 100,000 more vehicles on the road, I'm sorry, we are going to have serious traffic jam if you don't carpool, if you don't use taxi service, if you don't work smartly. And of course, in our meeting with Commander Bacchus, there's a new reality. You don't have to pay to cross the Bobby's River Bridge. And therefore, we envisage that a number of patrons who normally would take a minibus to come across will now drive to the event. So that will add to the traffic chaos. So yes, we will be having Queensway. And there's a third level of security, which we call Expo security. There's a small team of persons, usually dressed in black, who would walk around into the dark corners and looking for the mischief makers. There are always a few mischief makers around. So that's the third level, and there we'll be working in coordination with the guy in the police force. Of course, we know it's a public event, so please don't bring your firearms. No weapons will be allowed. There will be a big scanning facility at all the entry points to the ground. So please do not bring your weapons to the ground. As we get closer to the event, the commander and the police force will advise where we could lodge that weapon. We know it's a cricket ground as well, and we always sign a contract with Guy Suko. And I used to play cricket as well, so there was a policy of no glass bottles on the ground. And that is something we've been working with the guy in the police force. I think we have brought some level of control to what's happening at the ground. But once again, we urge all patrons, don't use any glass bottles. Of course, we will be meeting with all the beverage companies to ensure that they do not serve beverages in glass bottles. All right, I know a lot of us is looking forward for entertainment as well. The event, like Chairman said, you come, you go to the exhibition, you look for the deals, you enjoy the cuisine, and then there's the entertainment aspect. We always say it's a family event, and therefore, the level of entertainment we have will cater for family. We're having live band every night, and we were able to confirm our arrangement with one of the top bands in Guyana, Shakti Strings International. We know them, and we're working with another top band in Guyana to have some variety in the show. Of course, that will be supported with Crown Vibes International, sound stage, lighting. Those who know Crown Vibes know that they're maybe the best, if not, second in the country where sound stage lighting is concerned. I know there's always been a call of whether we're having international artists. And there's a saying that Guyanese is always foreign-minded. We always want to see international artists. But looking at the talent we have in Guyana, our artists, our local artists, I would put them nearly on par with the international artists. And therefore, we have taken a policy at the Central Quarantine Chamber of Commerce to promote our local artists. They need to get to the next level, and we have to give them that publicity. So, come and enjoy our local artists at the Expo. Like I tell you, they are very, very, very good. Lots of games for the kids, and I was talking to someone with the game. They want to bring a different kind of game. I haven't seen that before. But lots of stuff, merry-go-round, bouncy castle, trampoline, ring games, gun games. Well, the air gun type of game, not gun, right? But lots of entertainment for the kids, so you don't have to worry. Bring your kids. It's a family event. they will have their fun in the play park area whilst you browse around and have sip a beer or two. All right, so if you look at the program, you'll see remarks from Mr. Kamral Baksh is next. Unfortunately, Mr. Baksh could not be here today, Director of Guyana Tourism Authority, who would have been representing the Ministry of Tourism, Industry and Commerce. So we'll have to skip that and go on to the feature. We are privileged to have the Senior Minister in the Office of the President, the person who controls the finance. And I know we have big plans based on what His Excellency has outlined. And I know we all have our own expectations too. And whilst you begin to plan for next year's budget, maybe it's a time that you can tickle him to put something else in some other sector that you didn't hear as yet. I'm quite sure they have it all covered, but just maybe that you are not aware of what they're doing. And then he will most likely say, you know, we got that covered. We got that covered. Because the development trajectory we're on, I can only see our budget getting larger and larger. And it's a normal saying, the more you earn, the more you get, the more you spend. And now that we're reaping the fruits of the oil wealth, something that was there sitting for decades and years, it's time. It's time that Guyana be placed alongside the other first world countries. So transformation is the way forward. So allow me to introduce a Senior Minister in the Office of the President with responsibility for finance, Dr. Ashley Singh, to deliver the feature address and to officially launch the expo. Dr. Singh.
Good afternoon. Please be seated. Please be seated. Please be seated. So thank you very much, Mr. Ajoda, chairperson of this afternoon's proceedings and treasurer of the Central Quarantine Chamber of Commerce. And let me also, of course, thank the president of the Central Quarantine Chamber of Commerce and the executive members and other members, general members of the chamber, for inviting me to join you at the very important launch of the 2025 BERBICE Expo and Trade Fair. Permit me also to acknowledge the presence of others at the head table, including, of course, the regional chairman, Mr. David Armagan, the mayor of Rose Hall, Mr. Dave Budu, police commander of the B Division, Mr. Bacchus, former presidents and executives of the Chamber of Commerce, members, of course, former chairman, vice chairman of Region 6, and all of you who are present here today, and indeed greetings to all who might be looking on through the cameras that are present. I want to say what a great pleasure it is to be here once again. As you know, BERBICE is a home for me, Region 6 in particular. And considering that this is, I believe, the first time that I am speaking publicly in Region 6 since the 2025 September 1st general, I think they want me to change the microphone. You want me to change the microphone?
Yeah, this one is
So I was saying, Mr. Master of Ceremonies and President of the Central Quarantine Chamber of Commerce, considering that this, I believe, is the first time that I'm speaking publicly since the 1st of September 2025 general and regional elections, I wish, on behalf of President Irfan Ali and on behalf of General Secretary and Vice President Bharat Jagdeo, and the entire leadership and executive of the People's Progressive Party, I want to thank all of Region 6 for your very strong support on the 1st of September. If you look at the results of the elections, you will see that Region 6 returned the People's Progressive Party with, across all 10 regions, the second highest margin over the combined opposition. In other words, if you were to look at the People's Progressive Party's votes against the votes won by the combined opposition, Region 6 gave the People's Progressive Party the biggest lead over the combined opposition across all regions except for Region 3. After Region 3, Region 6 gave our party the second biggest majority. And I want to thank all of the people of Region 6. I want to thank all of the people who worked and supported us, worked for us and supported us. And I want also to thank the business community of Region 6 for the immense support that we got. As you know, we won those elections with a bigger majority, a stronger mandate. We are back in Parliament with a bigger, significantly bigger majority than we won in 2020. An enhanced and strengthened mandate. A result that I have no doubt reflects the assessment of the electorate of our performance over the past 5 years and the plans that we have outlined for the next 5 years. So thank you very much to all of you. Over the years, Region 6 has always stood with the People's Progressive Party. And this is not, I believe, an accidental occurrence. I believe that Region 6's support for the People's Progressive Party reflects the deep and profound understanding amongst the people of Region 6 that amongst all competing political alternatives, it is the People's Progressive Party that on every occasion and in every period in our country's history, it is the People's Progressive Party that has stood on the side of the Guyanese people, whether it be on questions of democracy, whether it be on questions of economic growth and development, and whether it be on questions of the social improvement of the circumstances in which the well-being with which our people live and the circumstances of the Guyanese people. Because, of course, you in Region 6 know the history, and in particular the business community of Region 6 know very well the economic history of our country. In some sense, Region 6 has been a very good living laboratory in which one can study the nexus between politics and economics, the nexus between political outcomes and economic outcomes. Because in the pre-1992 era, it is Region 6 that bore the brunt of the undemocratic, in the pre-1992 era, it is Region 6 that bore the brunt of the undemocratic rule of the then PNC, and that bore the brunt of the bad policies of that era. In fact, that, of course, was the era in which thousands of persons migrated out of Region 6, seeking a better life elsewhere, whether it be to go to the United States of America, or to Canada, or the Caribbean, or Suriname. Thousands upon thousands of persons from Region 6 fled this region and fled this country in response to the bad policies of the pre-1992 era. And similarly, the people of Region 6 saw the efforts to restore and rebuild our economy during the 1992 to 2015 period, when the People's Progressive Party, under successive presidents, Dr. Chedi Jagan, President Samuel Hines, President Janet Jagan, and of course, the longest serving amongst them, President Bara Jagdeo, Region 6 saw what a government with good policies can do with an opportunity to translate those policies into action. Because that was the era in which we saw the rebuilding of infrastructure, the restoration, first of all, of the solvency of our country, bringing our country back from bankruptcy into solvency, restoring our fiscal viability and our fiscal sustainability, restoring our credibility as a destination for foreign direct investment, and indeed as a home for domestic private investment. Restoring the environment in which private businesses would once again feel comfortable to raise capital and to invest that capital into productive activity. Today, every single big business in Guyana owes its origins to that period. If you look around the landscape, every single business that is today a big business has its roots and its origins in the establishment, perhaps, of a small business during that period. And then, of course, Region 6 saw the return under the APNU AFC during the 2015 to 2020 period of bad policies. Policies that saw the closure of the sugar industry, the abandonment and neglect of the rice industry and other agriculture, and including, of course, our agricultural infrastructure like drainage and irrigation. The neglect of the environment for doing business, policies that saw the imposition of punitive taxes that caused hardship on businesses and hardship on households, and the removal of benefits that took away disposable income from families and destroyed their capacity to consume goods and services. therefore threatening the viability of private businesses. You saw this in Region 6. You saw what the closure of the sugar industry did when persons lost their disposable income. You saw what that did to the markets and the market vendors. You saw what that did to the shops on the public road and even the shops in the back streets. How in the absence of people with disposable income, or with everybody having to struggle with reduced disposable income, what that did for every single category of business. And so it is no surprise that in 2020, Region 6 played an instrumental role in returning the People's Progressive Party to government. And then you saw from 2020 to 2025 the investments that we have made, the vast array of projects that have already been launched, that are literally changing and transforming the face of the region, and more broadly transforming the face of our country, and the policies that have returned disposable incomes to families, that have brought 60,000 more people into the world of work, therefore giving their families incomes that they are able to spend, and that reversed all of the punitive taxes and measures that had been implemented during the previous 5 years. And then, of course, you have heard our president and, of course, our vice president and others in government outline with great clarity the vision that we have for Region 6 and for our country more broadly. And in contrast with any other competing alternative, if they may be so described, in contrast with any other of the political aspirants in the political landscape, the People's Progressive Party is the only party that has outlined with clarity our vision and our plans for Region 6. And some who have spoken before me, President of the Chamber, President Punai, Chairman David, have both spoken before me and mentioned several aspects of this vision. And without wishing to repeat all that they have said in their respective remarks, I wish to reiterate to you that over the course of the next 5 years, we have outlined plans that promise a very exciting future for Region 6 in particular, and for Guyana more generally. Over the course of the next 5 years, we will see Region 6 connected now with Region 5 and therefore with the rest of Guyana, and through the road to Brazil with northern Brazil, connected with a new 4-lane bridge, similar to the bridge that has been built across the Demerara River. And I want to emphasize that such a bridge is being built. Some may wonder why this new 4-lane bridge is being built when there is already a bridge across the Berbice River. Some may wonder, why is this necessary? There's already a bridge. But we have explained, and those of you who are in business, and almost everybody in the room is in business, you know that the current bridge, though it has served an incredibly useful purpose, it has served as you know, I have my roots in Berbice. So I know the days when you used to have to line up at New Amsterdam Stelling and at Rosignol to go back and forth. And I know how many hours and days and nights were spent and lost. So of course the current Berbice River Bridge has served an incredibly valuable purpose. But of course it was built in another period when we faced constraints that necessitated the size and specifications of the bridge to be limited, as a result of which you are well aware, those of you who are in business, you know that there are weight restrictions on what can be brought across the bridge. And so heavy goods beyond a certain weight can't be brought across the bridge, and therefore have to be brought by barge into the Berbice River. You know, for example, that heavy construction material, sand and stone, etc., and containerized cargo above a certain weight cannot be brought across the bridge. And we see this as a constraint. You may think, well, a lot of people can still cross because most people are crossing with a car or a minibus. But of course, if you want major industrial development, you need to be able to move containerized cargo smoothly and efficiently across that river, both in terms of inputs for industry and the production of industry in Region 6. And so our plans during the next 5 years will see major industrial development in Region 6 that will be constrained by a bridge that has the current capacity constraints of the existing bridge. And so the new bridge is not just a bridge to cross the river. It is a new bridge that will remove the current constraint on the weight and volume of cargo that can be brought across the bridge. And I'm taking my time to emphasize this point because sometimes I have heard people ask me, well, we have a bridge already. And better yet, it's free. If you want, as we do, and as we are planning to see in Region 6, major industrial development, then container trucks with cargo must be able to travel freely back and forth. And the intention is exactly that. The intention is major industrial development, because as we have already said, there are plans to develop a deep water harbor. We're already speaking with a number of potential developers in this regard. There are plans to develop an industrial park similar to what is being done at Wales to utilize additional gas resources in Region 6, which holds the potential to be used in industries such as the manufacture of fertilizers, for agriculture, and also even potentially the production of additional electricity for the processing of our bauxite resources right here in Region 6. And of course, to unleash manufacturing activity, because Region 6 is the food producing capital of Guyana. without any disrespect intended to the other places in Guyana that produce and contribute to our aggregate food output, I think it is no secret that Region 6 has long been the major center. I think that's what that deserves. The farmers of Region 6 deserve a special round of applause. And for too long, our farmers have been producers of primary produce, fresh produce. Whether it is our dairy farmers and their milk, our cash crop farmers and their fruits and vegetables, our rice farmers with their vast productive output, and of course we have large rice farmers and rice millers in the room. Some of our country's largest farmers and millers are in the room. For too long, we have been a producer of primary agricultural output, but not processed and value-added output. And we want, in this 5 years, to be able to produce right here in Region 6 in a competitive manner, in a manner that will see us being able to compete with the Caribbean and with the rest of the world to produce value-added, packaged, processed, globally competitive agro-processed and food-type commodities for export from right here in Region 6 using the Deepwater Harbor right here in Region 6. But of course, our plans are not confined. In fact, I should say also that recognizing the vast potential of the agricultural sector in Region 6, and of course the risks that have historically been faced by our farmers in Region 6, we're also investing very heavily in improved drainage and irrigation infrastructure. The Hope-like canals, 2 major outfalls, an embankment along the Kanji Creek and a network of drainage within that catchment area to reduce the risk of flooding and to improve water management for irrigation purposes. So our farmers will face, I would hesitate to say a completely eliminated risk of flooding, but they will face a significantly reduced risk of flooding and even of drought conditions, because we will have better water management and water storage capacity as a result of these investments. That work has started already. And then, of course, there are other infrastructure investments. I think it was Chairman or the Chamber President who mentioned the bridge across the CORENTYNE River, linking us with our Surinamese neighbors. Mere days after President Ali came into office, he met with the Surinamese foreign minister, perhaps mere hours after he was inaugurated. He met with the foreign minister of Suriname, and he immediately arranged a meeting with the president of Suriname, and he has already had that meeting with the president of Suriname to advance that agenda, because we plan to work with our Surinamese counterparts to realize the bridge across the CORENTYNE River. Here again, you can imagine the vast possibilities that will be opened. Those who are producing in Guyana will be able to sell their produce in Suriname. Those who are purchasing inputs will be able to purchase their inputs at the most competitive place, wherever they may be, because Berbice will be linked by road, overland, to Suriname in the east, to Region 5, Region 4, and onwards, through Region 9, through Region 10 and Region 9, with northern Brazil, all by seamless road connection. Then there are the major investments that are taking place in so many other sectors. You have seen the Palmyra development, a brand new international stadium. Many of you, just a few days ago, took the journey to Providence Stadium. I saw many of my Berbician brothers and sisters waving their flags very excitedly at the Providence Stadium during the recently concluded 2020 cricket competition. I'm not going to get into the results of that competition today. That is a matter for discussion at another forum, if at all. But many of you have traversed to Providence Stadium to see cricket. Many of you have gone to Georgetown, you have stayed in hotels, used restaurants, used services in Georgetown, and gone to cricket. Imagine that we are mere months away from a time when people will traverse from the rest of Guyana to come to Region 6 to look at international cricket. And imagine that when they come, they are not only coming just as you do when you go to Georgetown. When they come, they will not only be coming to watch cricket, they will be coming to stay in Berbice hotels, they will be coming to eat in Berbice restaurants, they will be coming to shop in Berbice shops, purchasing Berbice produced goods and services. Right there, we will have not only the stadium, but international hotels, a modern mall, the Guyana National Cultural Market, a major housing, commercial and housing development not far away, all within that precinct right there at Palmyra. Not to mention, of course, the 4-lane highway that is being built along the Corentyne coast. Of course, President Punai mentioned the transformation of Port Morant into the technical and vocational training capital of the Caribbean. We have under construction and already in operation the Guyana Technical Training College, which when fully completed, it's already operating and training people, and it has already graduated one batch of students. But that institute will be our National Oil and Gas Institute, and it will train. It has been designated by ExxonMobil as their global center for excellence in deep sea exploration and production, which means that students in due course will likely come from elsewhere in the world to come and study right there. And right alongside it is, of course, the Tourism and Hospitality Institute, which will be the national training center for staff and personnel within the tourism and hospitality sector. And the list goes on. The construction of 2 modern hospitals, one in New Amsterdam and one in number 75 Village, between the two of which they will employ probably 1,500 persons, doctors, nurses, etc., all of whom can potentially come from Region 6. Your children, your nieces, your nephews, your neighbors, your grandchildren, serving as doctors, nurses, pharmacists, etc., at hospitals right here in Region 6, earning an income. And then when they earn their income, spending their income and to consume goods and services produced right here in Region 6. And I could go on for a very long time, giving you more and more examples of these developments. We have also committed, as you know, we are upgrading the road to Mara. That work is already ongoing. We've been doing sections of the road every year and taking electricity in there. We have taken electricity into New Forest for the first time ever. We have committed to building the road to Oriala and Siparuta, which will of course open up thousands of acres of land at Molson Creek and beyond for productive activity. And I could go on and give many, many other such examples. But the point I wish to make very simply is that you have in President Irfan Ali's government a government that has not an abstract or theoretical idea about what we might be doing in Region 6. You have in President Ali's government a government that has a crystal clear plan with concrete initiatives and projects within a framework that aims to unleash the vast economic potential of the people of the vast economic potential of Region 6 and improve the lives of all of the people of Region 6. And so the next 5 years promise to be incredibly exciting for Region 6. Incredibly exciting because of this economic growth that we will see, this transformation that we will see, and the remarkable opportunities that will be opened and unleashed as a result of that. And so, President Punai made a very important point when he was speaking. He spoke about thinking about the opportunities, identifying the opportunities, instead of just sitting back and waiting and wondering what might happen. Those who succeed are those who pay keen attention to the plans that have been outlined by our government, because you know that you have in this government a government that will deliver on its commitments, and you know what we have committed to deliver for Region 6. And so those who will succeed and succeed most greatly or in the most substantial way are those who pay keen attention to the plans that have been outlined, and I know many of you are doing so and have done so and are already investing in anticipation. And you look down the road to anticipate what are the opportunities that will arise and where will they arise, and how you should position yourself to be ready to expand your business or even to get into new lines of business in response to this reality that will be unfolding in Region 6 over the next 5 years. You know that I have strong ties and a strong and deep attachment to Region 6, and which I will continue to have for the rest of my life, having my ancestral roots in Region 6. Many of you know, of course, that I have roots in Bushlot village on the Corentyne. And I must tell you that I am incredibly excited, as a Barbician, I'm incredibly excited about what I anticipate we will see unfolding under President Ali's leadership over the next 5 years. You have seen the pace at which our president works. You have seen the pace and energy. You have seen it. Look, from 2020 to 2025, for 2 years we had COVID. When President Ali came into government, we were all wearing masks and we couldn't meet in a room like this. Shops and markets were closed and empty, and work sites were abandoned. That was the situation when President Ali came into government. And we took the fight to COVID. We lost nearly 2 years. In 3 years, post-COVID years, you have seen the pace at which President Ali has deployed his government to transform Guyana and to improve lives. Look at Region 4. New highways where people could not even imagine that highways would be. Today, when you drive along the roads in Region 4, many of you use those roads to go to the airport. You use those roads to go to the stadium. You use those roads to go and visit your relatives. I know Uncle Bill has relatives on the East Bank. Uncle Bill no longer has to battle with the traffic congestion on the old East Bank Road. He drives along a brand new 4-lane highway, and before he can't even take a nap, he has arrived at his family, his relatives, his family on the East Bank. You don't need me to tell you this. You have seen the unleashing of a pace of development that, if you are not careful, it is dizzying. You get dizzy. Literally new highways, roads, bridges. Who would have thought that such a bridge across the Demerara River would have been constructed in the period that it took us to construct it? I say to people that over the course of 5 years, Apnuna even built one little bridge over one little gutter. And over the course of less than 3 years, President Irfan Ali has built such a grand monument to infrastructural expansion like the Demerara River Bridge. If you think I'm gaffing, show me which bridge Apnu. They take 5 years. Show me which bridge they built across which trench. You may struggle to find a single little, even a little wooden bridge across a single little trench, and they spent 5 years doing it. They spent the 5 years planning and studying and writing white paper and green paper and yellow paper, and didn't build a single bridge. President Ali came into government and he said, the bridge across the Demerara River is a bottleneck, and I will remove that bottleneck by building a new bridge. He said the road to the East Bank is a bottleneck, and I will build new highways to open up the East Bank. He said in Region 3, I don't know how many of you, when last you have gone to Region 3. If you cross the river and go into Region 3 and you go to Parika, from Squidard, you go to Crane, or you go to Breeden Hoop and you go to Parika, it looks, when people who see it, they tell me it looks like a different country. That it looks like a different country. Everybody who has seen it, I have spoken with so many people who came back during the summer holidays. Some came for cricket, some came for summer holidays. Many of them I met at cricket, and they say to me they feel like this is a different country. You go to Region 3, it's like a different country. Brand new highways that take you from Squidard straight to Crane. And we are not stopping there. You will have a brand new highway that will take you from Squidard till to Parika. And so you have seen the pace at which our president and his government work. And you have heard the plans that we have outlined for Guyana and for Region 6. So President Ponai, I was very happy when you said, I can't quote your exact words, but I heard when you said it, that it is important to think about where the country is going and the opportunities that are arising. It is the people who will succeed and prosper are the people who think about where we are going as a country and as a region, and what the opportunities are that will arise, and how they can position themselves and be prepared to take the risk to raise and invest capital in order to generate returns from the very exciting future. I am myself as a citizen, first and foremost, before I speak as a minister, as a citizen, I consider myself immensely privileged to be living in this era in Guyana's history as a citizen. And of course, as a person in government, I consider myself equally privileged to be able to participate in and contribute to this transformation in whatever modest way I might be able to. So, with all of that said, the future is very exciting for Region 6. The future is and the opportunities cut across every sector. Let me tell you, there isn't a single thing that you can think of that doesn't have an opportunity, because there is more demand than there is supply. There isn't a single thing that you can think of that, or a single sector, or a single item of output that there isn't need for additional production of. Because demand is growing more rapidly than supply of almost every single category of goods and services in Guyana. And that means that there is an opportunity for producers to increase their, to invest and to increase their production. So this 20th, is it the 20th or the 19th? It's the 19th, okay. So this 19th BERBICE Expo, I don't know how I had in my head that it was 20. Oh, it's the 20th anniversary of the chamber. But I look like the program's the 19th. It's the 20th anniversary of the expo. But the program's the 19th BERBICE Expo and Trade Fair. Oh, you missed two, okay. So it's the 20th anniversary, I got it. So it's the 20th anniversary of the first expo, but one or two were missed during COVID. Right, so I got it now. You got it clear. 20th anniversary of the first one, but 19th event because of the COVID period not allowing the expo to be held. So on this 20th anniversary of BERBICE Expo and Trade Fair, of the BERBICE Expo and Trade Fair, I want to say to the leadership of the Central Quarantine Chamber of Commerce that you are to be commended to have taken the initiative to have launched this expo since you initiated it 20 years ago. You are to be commended for keeping it alive for 2 decades. I want to salute all of you. All of these past presidents whose pictures adorn the wall. Some of them are in the room. I know Mr. Mohammed Rafiq is in the room. He's a past president. I know Mr. Rambridge is in the room. He's a past president too. And I hope I'm not missing. Mr. Ajoda, you were a past president too, right? I may be missing others. Please forgive me if I miss you. But I want to salute all of you who have persevered through the years, recognizing that the future was bright and exciting, keeping the chamber alive and active, growing starting the expo and growing the expo and trade fair in the manner that you have done. And in particular, I look forward myself to the 2025 expo, because I understand you will have perhaps more exhibitors than ever before. I think 170 was the number that was called. You will have more exhibitors. I know that reference was made to the performers as well and the artists, so it will be a very entertaining event as well. But it's also a very important opportunity for BERBICE businesses to showcase to the world, to showcase to BERBICE, to showcase to Guyana, and to showcase to the rest of the world the productive activity that you are doing right here in BERBICE. I remember on previous occasions being pleasantly surprised. I remember going at the Nanpasad booth and discovering that you're doing a lot of exciting things right here in BERBICE that I have the privilege of being in government, that I was not aware. A lot of incredibly exciting things that the Nanpasad group is doing, and so many others. I just take the Nanpasad group example, and so many others of incredibly exciting things that BERBICE businesses are doing. This is a wonderful opportunity to showcase BERBICE entrepreneurship and entrepreneurial capacity, and I urge you to take advantage of that opportunity and put Berbice entrepreneurship on show for the rest of Guyana at this very important occasion. So congratulations to the President and the executive members and membership of the Central Quarantine Chamber of Commerce. Congratulations on, like I said, 20 years of hard work. Congratulations on organizing this event. And I know you had to reschedule it to accommodate national events. So I appreciate your flexibility in adjusting it to accommodate the national calendar. I can tell you that we are all looking forward to it. I look forward to being here myself during the course of the expo. And I know that my cabinet colleagues are looking forward similarly to being here. And I urge you, like I said, to make it yet another example of Berbice, of excellence coming out of Berbice, and in particular, entrepreneurial excellence and entrepreneurial capacity. So congratulations, and thank you very much. And it is my privilege now, on behalf of the government of Guyana, on behalf of President Ali and his entire government, it is my privilege to officially launch the 2025 Berbice Expo and Trade Fair, and to wish you well in your preparations, and to wish you a successful Expo and Trade Fair. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ashni Singh. At this point, I want to recognize the presence of the President of the Upper Quarantine Chamber. I know that she came in a bit late, Ms. Nandrani Kishun, along with past President, Mr. Jai Chan, our honorary member, Mr. Krishnanath Prasad. Good to have you here as well. And for all those who came in a bit late, special welcome to you. Whilst Dr. Singh was speaking about entrepreneurship, our president just indicated to me that once again this year at Berbice Expo, the Chamber will be sponsoring booth space for young entrepreneurs. So you have a startup business, a young entrepreneur, you need space to promote your activity. We are going to give you free space at the event. So please make contact early. All right, so as we bring proceedings down to a close, I'll now invite our Vice President, who's also the Manager of Republic Bank, Rosal Branch, Ms. Sati Cox, to do the closing remarks.
All protocols observed. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Before we disperse, allow me on behalf of the Central Quarantine Chamber of Commerce the honor of expressing our collective gratitude. First, to the Honorable Senior Minister, Dr. Ashni Singh, thank you. Thank you not just for being here, but for lifting this occasion with your insightful and inspiring words. It is not every day that wisdom walks into a room and reminds us that our ambitions can be matched with action. Your presence has not only dignified this event, but also reassured us that Berbice matters, our enterprises matter, and that this expo is not just a fixture on a calendar, but a bridge to a brighter economic horizon. To the special invitees, we are truly appreciative of the time and effort you took to be here and for your support to the expo. The Berbice Expo and Trade Fair has now become a story told in editions. This year, we celebrate our 19th edition. In the life of any event, that is no small feat. The expo has endured, it has expanded, it has stood the test of time. It has earned its reputation as a marquee trade fair of this region, so much so that its absence is unimaginable. It is now an annual staple, part of the cultural and economic rhythm of Berbice. And this year, with all signs pointing to something bigger and better, we feel that pulsating rhythm again. What gives us confidence is not only tradition, but the tangible encouragement of the corporate and business community. This afternoon, many of you by your presence have signaled your commitment to the Expo, to showcase and to invest in this vision. For that, I extend heartfelt thanks. Your booths will not just be spaces for commerce. They will be spaces for opportunities. Opportunity for you and for your products and services. Because nothing boosts sales like the exposure provided at our expo. I wish to highlight the names of some of our earliest sponsors: Digicel, Suri Trading, Comfort Sleep, D-Saw Mechanical Workshop, and Pomal Trading and Distribution. I must also single out the executive of the Central Quarantine Chamber of Commerce. Pulling off an event of this magnitude requires careful and meticulous planning, disciplined execution, and tireless effort. To my colleagues on the chamber, I say, your hands, your hearts, and your leadership make this possible. Thank you for not just imagining the expo, but for delivering it year after year. To the wider business community, both inside and outside of Berbice, your interest fuels this expo. Your support gives it wings. We look forward to you making this year's edition not just another success, but a mammoth success. One that will echo in the stories we tell for years to come. And finally, to everyone gathered here this afternoon, thank you. Without your presence, without your belief, without your simple act of showing up and your goodwill, none of this would be possible. An expo is not built on booths and banners. It is built on people, on you. So as we close, let us think of this launch as an ignition point. May the 19th BERBICE Expo and Trade Fair surpass all expectations, and may we together continue to write this enduring success story of the BERBICE Exposition and Trade Fair. Thank you, one and all.
And thank you very much, Ms. Sati Cox, Dr. Ashni Singh, Mr. David Armagon, Mr. Punai Bigru, special invitees, ladies and gentlemen, members of the media. Thank you all very much. This concludes the formal launch of BERBICE Expo and Trade Fair 2025. Thank you. There's some light refreshments. Please partake before you leave. Members of the chamber, please come forward for our pick. Members of the chamber, please come forward.